Your priorities are not where they're supposed to be. You tell yourself, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to become a millionaire. And you're manifesting it, but you're not doing the boring things. You're not doing what you're supposed to do and the day-to-day that actually move the needle forward, right? Like it's good enough to think yourself as, I'm going to become the very best version of myself. I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to do this. But like, if you're lazy, you don't have that character trait, right? If you're lazy, if you don't put the importance on doing the minor, smaller things and over delivering and over, trying to do more than just the given thing, just the normal thing. If you don't have that, it's going to be very, very hard or almost impossible. You're not going to make it.
What is up, Entrepreneur DNA family? I am back with another episode with a buddy of mine right here in Miami. He's an immigrant and he has built two really impressive businesses right here in the United States. Esteban Andrade.
Thanks for having me, man.
Listen, when I did my first introduction, I just butchered your last name. After I asked if I butchered your last name, I just did it twice.
That's fine.
But I did say it correctly the last time.
Yes. Also, us Latinos would butcher English all the time. When I was growing up and learning English, I used to say things that make zero sense. One time I tried to say I have a lot of pain in my knee, and I was saying point. So people were looking for a point in my knee.
Yeah.
And it meant pain.
Yeah.
So everyone laughed after that. So I get it, man. It's all right.
Being that I have a Cuban wife who speaks Spanish, she makes fun of me all the time when this. So I got to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. I think it's, I think the probably most famous immigrant that has been incredibly successful, Gary V, right?
Yeah.
And I say that because it is really impactful to me. It means a lot when someone like yourself can come here from a lesser country in the sense of financially and opportunity, not in people, but just opportunity, and come here with little to nothing to say, fuck this, I'm going to go win, and it's on me to go do it.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that journey of entrepreneurship.
I love that you mentioned Gary Vaynerchuk because that's how I kind of grew up as an entrepreneur. One of the first books I ever read was Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk, which literally blew my mind. And then Grant Cardone, and now I follow Patrick Bet-David, who is another immigrant.
That's
from
right.
Iran.
Yeah.
But the reality is that when you come in as an immigrant, you come from a place where there's not much opportunity, like you said, to really do what you can do in the United States. And I always say it all the time, when you were born in this country, you got it all. So the poor class in this country is actually kind of like a middle class or higher class in our countries.
Yeah.
You go there to actually eat shit, or like if you're born in the poor class or even in the lower middle class, you would have to hustle. You have to get out in the street, sell things at the lights, sell things on the street, have an independent business while having a job and for three different things at the same time. So there is a lot of scarcity of things and opportunities that happen there, because also politics and just the economy as a whole. But here, dude, like, it's impressive what this country has done, because anyone can literally become here the best version of themselves. And
here, you're 100% right. Now, I don't mean to totally cut you off, but what discourages me about the United States is you just talked about someone who's willing to have a full-time job, then go to the street, sell some tchotchke stuff, and then go, do whatever the third thing is that you mentioned, just to make sure that they can pay their bills. While meanwhile, you have people here in the United States, the land of opportunity, the land that gave you, Esteban, the opportunity that you have, and people whine and complain about the prices of stuff, but then they won't go out and work for it.
Yeah, and they feel entitled too, that they need to be given certain things.
Sure.
As opposed to earning it, right? Because us as an immigrant, when we come to the U.S., we have to earn it. Yeah. We come here with no English. We also come here with probably a high level of education. That doesn't mean crap. Because you still have to go clean floors at the beginning, do some manual or labor, or you become a mechanic, because school in our country is not 100% matched in this. You have to restart once again.
Yep.
So it's the journey that you have to do as an immigrant in here. It's more of the hustle. It's more of you have to work 2 times more than what an American would, because an American already has the English, already has the local connections. People probably trust you more because you're American, you're born in this country. So my journey really was, it was very interesting, man, because I went from being bullied or making fun of my accent to having to change my names when I was doing door-to-door sales to paint houses. And I changed it from Esteban to Nick, which actually is my middle name, Nicholas. And all of these little tweaks that you have to do to your life and mind shifts just to make it happen, right? So, and people don't realize that the immigrant spirit, the blood of the immigrant, is really what you need as an adrenaline rush for you to make it as an entrepreneur, because they just need to, there's no other option. Like,
well, it's you'll do whatever it takes. I mean, even just what you just said, you were going door to door to paint houses. First of all, door to door, I did door to door for years. It is the hardest, but probably the best thing I did in the skill set that it develops. To your whole point, you have to like kind of tweak and change who you are and become a chameleon and kind of speak in a certain way and then understand who you're talking to. So there's a lot of skill set that I would argue, not knowing you back then, you probably brought a lot of that into what you've done with your digital marketing agency and your VA company, the things that you currently have, because of the skill set of the door knocking. But then the ultimate hustler is what I'm hearing, right? You came to the US, you're going door to door, you're door knocking, and from there, there's a transition where you now own a digital marketing agency, you have a VA company, but it has this whole, being genuine to how you were brought up. You were willing to do whatever it took to get to wherever you needed to go, no matter what.
100%. I feel like sometimes if I were to take an entrepreneur and have different combinations of or races or even cultures, I would 100% take some sort of immigrant from either the Middle East or Latin America, and I'll combine it with an American, someone that has it already here. And that will be a perfect combination of an entrepreneur, because you come in here and you're ready to make things happen. You're ready to go out of your way. You're ready to be mega resourceful, which are skill sets and traits that entrepreneurs ultimately need to gain clients, fulfill your clients, continuously growing as a company, or even just get outside of the rat race. Those are traits that you ultimately need, but you don't develop those traits if you never seek discomfort or you never get to be uncomfortable about something. As simple as making fun of your accent, right? As simple as not knowing how to pronounce words and you feel like, God damn it. I don't really know how Americans operate. I don't really understand their jokes. I don't know how to have a full conversation with them. And the conversation is just different. Like, those are struggles. Those are struggles that us immigrants have. And they're very simple things, but they make us really work harder to achieve something else that it's bigger than us. You know what I mean?
Well, you said something about being resourceful.
Yeah.
That is something I hold dear to my heart, because, and you know my story to some extent about, I essentially lost my home to foreclosure. A repo man took my car. I'm sleeping on the couch. And, 16 years later, here I am, right? A ton of business success, a ton of success on the podcast world with Apple and all these other things. But it was because of what you just said, is I was resourceful. I borrowed money where I needed to. I made the hard calls to get to where I wanted to be. But secondary to that, I really leveraged my ability to connect with people.
Yeah.
And talk to your story with, again, how did you, we're in a mastermind together, the boardroom.
Yeah.
How do you get into a room full of multiple 7-figure earners when you started by painting houses, going door to door? What was that trend? How do you get there? What did you have to do to get into rooms like that? And that's not the only room that we're in 2 different masterminds together, right? That's not the only room then that you're in that have very high level performers, really successful entrepreneurs, and you're in these rooms, but you started by painting homes, going door to door.
Yeah, a lot of this thing has to do with mindset and positioning your own mind in places where you know that you can make it, where you know that you could be at. A lot of the times people are not even thinking too big or big enough that they can think that they can be surrounded by these amazing people, and also because they don't think of that, they don't try hard enough, or they put themselves in a lower level, that whatever they try, it's always going to be lower level or mid level, right? So it was a huge opportunity for me to see that there was a boardroom mastermind by Kent where he had all these great people, and other masterminds like, Cole Gordon mastermind, family mastermind, and like, yeah, sometimes you do have to pay money to do that, but also it's like, I know I will earn to be in that spot, because I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to achieve my dreams. Also show everyone that we're capable, you're capable, right? And at the same time, I want to be able to connect with the best people so they show me their way, because I'm always learning from everyone. So being part from God, you said, going from painting houses to being in these masterminds, it's always...
What bridged the gap? What was it? Was it people, your connection with people, your work ethic, being the right place, right time? Was someone made the connection that you needed? What bridged that gap? And I'm sure there was a pretty decent gap in terms of age and stuff like that. But, I can tell you why I'm asking the questions. I can literally look backwards and I can point to several dots, right? You can only connect the dots looking backwards. I can point to several dots, and every single time I increased my income, I increased my business, I increased my portfolio, I increased something, it was people. It was people every single time.
Yeah.
I got around the right person. I was intentional about it. I asked for what I needed when I needed something, and they provided it.
Yeah.
Can you connect the dot of what made the difference and how you went from, was it strategy? Was it the willingness?
Honestly, I feel like I don't remember where I read this, but I feel like it's three things that made me go from... Actually, I used to wash dishes as well, door knock for painting and stuff like that. And now being a millionaire, it comes down to three different things. It comes down to the character traits that I have, the skill sets that I have developed, and the behavior that I currently have, and the beliefs, right? So my beliefs are fully connected to the character traits that I have, or that I have developed, and the skill sets that I also have developed and that I have earned over time. It's something that my character traits allow me to do. So those three things really, really have helped me go from 0 to 100. Because if you think about character traits, for example, optimism, right? Being able to be an optimist, or being able to have a high level of work ethic, positivism, being able to understand that it's not going to be all the time good, and not everything is rainbow and butterflies, but somehow I'm going to make it, right? Those things that you have to develop because you have to train your brain allow me to now understand that I now need skill sets, and I now need to have certain beliefs and behaviors like the people that I want to become like. Those are the things that are going to move me forward. So, for example, if I never had worked on my skill sets, if I had never worked on my beliefs and my behaviors and being able to understand how other people behave and why are they the way they are, I don't believe that they're better, but they just know something I don't know. They're doing something that I'm not doing, and they also believe in something I don't believe. Like, once I understand that and I have the skills, now I have the proof, that makes me build a multi-million-dollar company. That makes me fulfill our clients with the most exclusive premium type of service, help them change the entire business. That makes me hire the best people, attract the best people, connect with, the top tier, most elite real estate investors, and have them as a friend, right? All of these things, it's a snowball effect. It's the culmination of these three things. I don't think an entrepreneur can only have skills without the right character traits. with the right beliefs. Skills is not going to be enough because you're going to be hired at some point, but you're not gonna really have what an entrepreneur needs, right? So I was able to develop this over time, and reading is what changed everything. Listening to the audiobooks is what changed everything, because at the beginning I did not have any mentor. I was not able to spend $10,000 in a coaching program.
Yeah.
But I was willing to spend the time on dissecting the brain of the best people in the world. And they have put a book or some sort of course or something out there. And books have been my best friend forever, to be honest. An audiobook, like combine both all the time.
Yeah.
And if there's a video of it, even better. But that's how I've been able to learn and insert into their mind, like being able to capture what character traits do they have, what skills do they currently are the best at, and what can they teach me in this book, and what do they believe? Like that's ultimately the three things that have helped me, and I've done that through books.
Books is a big thing. I'm an English major, so I've read a lot of books. And now, to your point, I do audiobooks. Partly because it's just, as I'm running so fast all the time, it's a lot easier for me to drink a cup of coffee and listen to a book to digest it than it is for me to actually open a book and read it at this point. Although there is scientific proof that actually reading things and writing things really helps you digest the information. But I think a lot of people underestimate the value of books these days, right? Or even podcasts to some extent, right? Yeah. We were just talking about a friend, Taylor Welch, and his podcast he does 3 to 5 minutes a day that he puts out on Apple. It is all about daily mind medicine. It's increasing your ability to be more thoughtful and to work better and all these things. And I say that only because I also am just like you. If someone can't cut the check to be at the table, you can, I can. If they can't join the masterminds, they can't get the coaching, they can at minimum spend $15 a month for Audible.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can't do that and you're listening or watching this, then just stop watching this, unsubscribe, stop listening. Because if you can't afford $15 a month, then something actually is way worse inside your mind.
It's one lunch and or 3 coffees, and
I mean, it's not even that anymore. Lunches are like $20. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, so if you can't, then we have a whole different. You need to go listen to Dave Ramsey. And
your priorities are not where they're supposed to be. You tell yourself, I'm gonna be the best. I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm going to become a millionaire. And you're manifesting it, but you're not doing the boring things. You're not doing what you're supposed to do and the day-to-day that actually move the needle forward, right? Like it's good enough to think yourself as I'm going to become the very best version of myself. I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to do this. But like if you're lazy, you don't have that character trait, right? If you're lazy, if you don't put the importance on doing the minor, smaller things and over delivering and trying to do more than just the given thing, just the normal thing. If you don't have that, it's going to be very, very hard or almost impossible. You're not going to make it.
Yeah, and so you said the 3 character traits. You said you may encompass it in what you're saying, but what I admire about you and so many other immigrants that really made it is the work ethic component. Is they're not afraid to work. You're not. I'm not. But for whatever reason, it seems that the immigrants that I've at least encountered, and I don't think this is true, there's not like, it's not 100% and zero, but most of the immigrants I've encountered, they're willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's wake up early, it doesn't matter if it's stay up late, it doesn't matter if it's do 2 or 3 things. Like you talked about, you were painting homes, you were working as a dishwasher. You were doing the things because you wanted more for your life. You wanted a bigger life. You wanted something more.
One of my friends is going to hate me for saying it in this podcast, but I got to say it. I have a friend that was born in the U.S. He has immigrant parents, but he's more American than immigrant. Sure. All right. So I see himself. He's an immigrant, so he must have the immigrant blood. But one time he complained about doing 3 extra steps he was putting the description down of my YouTube video. And he just has a very small description and he needed to put the timestamps, hashtags, and a few other things that were good for SEO. He said, oh, it's 3 extra steps. I don't want to do that. It's it's already too much work. And I'm like, do you know what the difference between good and great is? This big difference between good and great is doing those little things.
Yeah.
And he, you know, he just stayed quiet and out. I was like, dude, like, you got to do what you got to do. Right now you have AI to help you do different things faster. Why don't you think about also how can I, because every I believe every problem has a solution, and a solution can always be automated, delegated, or obviously, you know, pay someone to do it for, you know, do it yourself as well. And that's how I think as an engineer. I'm actually graduated from engineering. I always feel like there is always an answer, and there's always a reason, and there's always a why. And all the things that happen around us that are not the best for us, that the things that we don't want, it's only the surface level voice. It's only telling you the surface level. And even if you ask yourself one time, it's still close to the surface level.
Yeah.
You have to dig deep into why things are not working, why things are not great, and they're just good enough. Why we don't have the best reviews in our business, and our clients are not 100% having all the best results, just some of them. Like, why? Like, so many things that are happening in your life that are not working. You have to ask yourself at least 10 times, why? What's the reason, right? Like, ask yourself all of this, and you'll find there is an ultimate constraint and ultimate something that is crippling you, and usually that is some sort of mental block, or a character trait that you have not developed just yet.
Yeah, and or you don't want it bad enough at the end of the day, right? So being an entrepreneur is really difficult.
Yeah.
Like, incredibly difficult. It's hard all the time, right? I interviewed Dan Fleischman. He was explaining, like, it's hard when you just start. It's hard when you get going. It's hard to make your first million. It's hard at first 10 million, 100 million, etc. And I find that to be truer and truer, that, you know, it's not that easy. But what's really not easy is living a life that you don't enjoy. That's really not easy to me. So when you talk about people who, you know, don't go for it, like, they're just going to end up living a life of mediocrity, and, like, I guess that will be okay for that person, but it's a lot harder to go just live a boring, I just want to do enough work to get by attitude. Then that's going to be your life. You're just going to get by. For people like yourself, for myself, that is definitely not okay. We need to go create something bigger, which goes back to this immigrant versus U.S. Like, the U.S. gives you that opportunity to go create. Your home, you know, country may not give you that same opportunity. So your perspective is, I'm going to do whatever the hell it takes to go get the opportunity, because it's actually there now. The unfortunate part is the people that live here, they have the same opportunity.
Yeah.
They just don't take advantage of it because they don't know what it's like not to have the opportunity, right? It's just always there. The example I use is, like, I was born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. Do you know how many times I've walked across the Golden Gate Bridge? One of the 7 wonders of the world, the Golden Gate Bridge. Do you know how many times I was born and raised, spent 20-something years there. You know how many times I've walked across it? Zero.
That's crazy.
And because it was so easy to get to. It was 15 minutes from my house. I didn't really care. I could do it any single day. Whatever. But meanwhile, you have people flying from Japan and China and across the entire world to go to San Francisco to walk that very same bridge that I didn't care to walk across once in my entire life, because it was too accessible. It was too easy. I could do it whenever.
Yeah.
And that life of entitlement, like, I can always have it. So I'm just, and then indifference about it. Like, I don't really care because I can get it whenever I want. That is a separating factor. I don't think it's the only separating factor, but it is one.
Dude, it's crazy. You're making me want to go to the beach more often, because I don't go to the beach. I'm really pale.
Yeah, and you live in Miami. And people fly to Miami all the time.
All the time.
And again, the locals don't go to Miami. Now, part of it is because it is very touristy, right? Because all the tourists come here, so that's a little challenging, but still. Now, what created, like, the digital marketing agency? Why did you go the route you went, right? Because essentially, anyone can do anything they want.
Yeah.
So why do you go from, again, washing dishes, painting homes, to Digital marketing to virtual assistants.
I've always lacked technology, and a lot of people hate technology or can't even comprehend it for some reason. That's okay, bro. You're like my business partner.
Yeah.
But that's why people like me will come in. When I was a kid, because I did not have skills, social skills, but even though my personality was always outgoing, I just nailed down into the video games, into computer, into understanding, science fiction and stuff like that. So I was a nerd, a total nerd. It's okay to be a nerd, to be honest. And then when I moved to Canada and I changed my environment, my social skills just went through the roof because I was able to associate myself with better people. But then I realized that in the real estate investing space, wholesaling, house flippers, there is a lack of technology insert in their business. Call it AI, call it digital marketing systems, call it even automations that make you do what you used to do in 5 steps, you do it in 1 step. Mm-hmm. There is a lack of that because they don't understand that leverage. The leverage of utilizing software, coding, programming, or just tech to ultimately do things faster, achieve things faster, right? Like, for example, like one of the biggest leverage that Mark Zuckerberg, when he created Facebook, was that he was able to connect people, just like you can connect people in the universities, but through a platform, through a marketplace, through a software, right? And so now he leveraged some sort of software, some sort of code that he created to impact more people, make it faster, make it easier, simpler. So when you insert digital marketing to your business, so we're talking here Google, we're talking Meta, YouTube, even TikTok, which is crazy that TikTok works. You're going to now insert one lever that you never thought about putting your business in terms of lead generation, generating leads, getting motivated sellers. So I was like, I like to serve people. I come here from a culture of serving. I'm a total nerd. I love all this shit. I'm gonna study it, but at the same time, I have these skills, the social skills that I wanna turn it into something. So I learned marketing and I learned sales, right? Marketing and sales, and I combined that with technology. So I started offering Facebook services, Facebook ad services, sure. And dude, like the first client ever that we had, he purchased 24 properties in Detroit with $9,000 in ad spend.
Wow,
it's crazy. He used to sell it for. He used to sell those houses. He used to repair it, rehab it, put into property management with his brother to Argentinian investors, and he just needed more houses. So I was like, all right, there is an opportunity here for me to serve, use technology. Something that I became obsessed about was how I would use all these platforms like Google, Facebook, Meta, YouTube, and apply it in a business like real estate and wholesalers that really need that help. Because a lot of people are oblivious on what even an algorithm is, or what a pixel is, or how even Facebook works. Like, why are they just coming out of nowhere? Like, some people are oblivious to it, and I just literally don't have to hire a lot of people to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have to hire a lot of people. I just need to program it, code it, manage it a little bit, and then houses are going to come in. Opportunities with homeowners are going to come in. And then what's crazy, dude, is that we saw the other other problem of solving the next thing. What happens when you generate leads, start getting appointments, start getting contracts, start getting busy? There's no time. So when there's no time, again, you can leverage it through technology, but you can also leverage it to people, through people. So that's why I started seeking for a recruitment company that can help me recruit for my clients. So I started seeking for a recruitment company for virtual assistants, for team members. All of them were from Philippines. Majority of them were from Philippines. And I was like, I love Filipinos, but the service that these agencies gave me is just not really my bar. My bar is just over delivering. So I found someone that was inside of another program mastermind for agencies that had a high bar of quality, and he cared a lot, but he lacked technology. He lacked the systems brain. He lacked the technology brain. So I was like, dude, like I'll send you clients, fulfill them, give me 50% of each client. I sent him like 15 to 20 clients the first month. That's when the other baby was born, remote Latinos. Yeah. So that's where it's like, dude, like people love them.
Yeah.
Majority of my team, the fulfillment team, it's in Latin America. My sales team is here in the US, but because we are in that mindset of serving, over delivering, doing the best. And what's crazy is that they believe that they are in the United States and they do work for a United States company, which is true. You know the example that you gave about wanting to go to the bridge in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Well, they are already in the US. They work with American people. They work with the Gringos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They are making American dollars. They can also live wherever they want. And we're achieving this dream of them of being able to earn more, be in the United States, or like get paid through a U.S. company instead of a Colombian company or a Venezuelan, or you're Cuban.
Colombia?
I'm Colombian.
So for both different companies, who's your specific client avatar? For the digital marketing agency, who's your avatar? Real estate investors?
For both companies, right now, we're focusing on house flippers, wholesalers, and creative financing investors.
So real estate investors primarily. Okay,
real estate investors. But I mean, real estate investors, there's so many of them. Of course. Right? But they usually should be already doing a few deals a month, like 2 to 3. Otherwise.
And the services you provide are what? For the digital marketing agency, what services do you provide?
So we plug and play our marketing systems and sales systems so that they can generate motivated sellers daily through Meta or through Google or through both. And
we love that you don't even use Facebook. I still use Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook.
I get it, but you're in the world. You're like Meta. I get it.
Meta, just for people that don't know, Meta is Instagram and Facebook and all these other channels. And we just help them generate more houses, more opportunities. Yeah.
And then the Remote Latinos, which is the name of it, Remote Latinos is
Remote Latinos.
Virtual assistants that will help you do what?
Dude, like, first of all, isn't it a great name?
I love the name personally, for sure. Well, listen, for as someone as a full-time real estate investor, there's such a high percentage of Spanish-speaking homeowners in markets that I love. I love the state of Florida. I love Arizona. I love Texas. Like, these are primarily the markets that I love. And there's a high percentage of Spanish-speaking people in these states. And so it just makes a whole lot of sense, especially if you're talking about any type of not face to face, but any type of communication where they actually have to get on the phone.
Yeah.
I really love that service.
So this company bridges the gap between finding a top tier virtual assistant, and I don't want to call it anymore virtual assistant. They are actually remote professionals because they already have the abilities, the skills, the capacity of doing higher level things. Mm-hmm. They come in with experience on doing higher level things apart from the just admin minutia.
Sure.
So we bridge that gap of finding people in Latin America as opposed to, what wholesalers, investors are so used to, Filipinos or Egyptians or, people in Asia. We want to find them in the same time zone. We want to find them with the same type of skill sets as an American has, or, they went to university, or that doesn't really matter, but like, the experience, the cultural similarities, the work ethic, right? The character traits that we need from someone that is not going to complain because, I'm just going to check in and check out, and 40 hours is everything I'm going to do. I'm going to do the minimum work. You see that a lot here. I've seen statistics where people in the U.S. don't even want to apply for jobs, even though the job, there's a lot more jobs that are being posted out there. Right. People don't want to apply. People don't want to work. People will prefer to, they think themselves that, I deserve more money, or I'm gonna just might as well ask for government money, or they're better than that, like you said, and now there is Latin Americans that want to come here to take over they're not even inside of the country.
Yeah.
They're going to take over.
Everything's remote. Better work ethic. They want it more. They're hungrier.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what I keep saying is that it's unfortunate to know what I know about, the majority. I mean, even just look at obesity. Like, how much obesity is in Colombia?
None.
Right?
Yeah.
Relative to the United States, right?
Yeah.
You go to different countries and you realize, wow, we as a country is massively obese and we're really lazy, right? I mean, that's the reality is you go to Colombia and they're going to go eat your lunch. Quite literally, they're going to come and take over and not even physically be here and they'll take over, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I know there's a lot of different services you can do. So where do we want to, for the digital marketing agency, where can people find it? Where can they go for that agency if they're a real estate investor looking for a digital marketing agency?
So if you're in the REI space and you're an REI entrepreneur, call them now REIpreneurs.
Nice.
You go to hustlemedia.com, which HESEL media.com, or
Hustle, HESEL media.com.
Yeah, so that's the initial name of the company. But sometimes it's easier to find us as motivatedselleronline.com.
Okay, motivatedselleronline.com.
Which is basically we gave birth to that brand so that people can understand that we're a motivatedselleronline.com program.
Sure.
Right? And we accelerate your company through online motivated sellers. Cool. Right? And for the recruitment company, which we're going to come up with a crazy surprise in the next 2 months, we're going to launch a marketplace so where people will be able to hire their own people by themselves through the help of AI, more technology, an algorithm that says, oh, Juan might be a good worker or opportunity for you to work in your company based on your company values, based on mission, vision, what you need for the job description. And here is his video presenting himself.
Yeah.
And it's going to be given in a silver platter. That one is called Remote Latinos.
RemoteLatinos.com.
That one has a huge opportunity, a huge ceiling because it's an untapped market. It's literally it's the blue ocean of businesses not knowing that people in Argentina, Colombia, Mexico can do this high-level, high-skilled tasks, project, and roles, and you're going to save 60% of the cost of selling.
For sure.
Yeah, or more.
And then I'm sure you talk a lot about this on your Instagram. Where should they go to your Instagram to find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is @estenick. So remember how I told you that I used to change my name to Nick?
Yeah. Estenick.
Yeah, Estenick. Esteban Nicholas is my full name.
Estenick. So make sure everyone goes and follow him on Instagram. And then if you are looking for motivated sellers, you have the digital marketing agency. And then if you're looking for more employees, you have the Remote Latinos.
Correct.
Both of those are good resources.
Yeah.
Dude, I appreciate you sharing some of your story here on growing companies, coming from painting houses and dishwashing to running 2 multi-million-dollar companies. It's been a pleasure to have you, bro. I appreciate coming on.
Dude, I love connecting with people like you, man. Absolutely. This podcast is crushing it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, dude. All right, guys. I will see you guys on the next podcast of the Entrepreneur DNA. Peace.